Okay, I'm going to be doing a little short video on the tarot and what I think about the tarot and what it means as far as reading the tarot. And uh, I'm using the Dreaming Way Tarot, a very whimsical deck, very nice deck. I love this deck. I haven't read with it, but I'm going to start reading with it more. I'm thinking of cutting it down a little bit. It's the cardstock is very stiff, and so it's hard to shuffle. I have to divide it into two piles to shuffle them, shuffle them. This is the kind of cardstock you would put in your bicycle. It'd be very good to put in your bicycle. It's that stiff, but it's a beautiful deck, very whimsical, as you can see from here. Anyways, I pulled this 5-card spread. I asked the question, what will the new year bring? And, I interpreted it. And just briefly, I go left to right. Again, I'm learning, so, this is how I do things now. Eventually, I hope to get into larger spreads, maybe the 9-card spread or the Celtic Cross, although I'm not really feeling the Celtic Cross for some reason. We have the card, the 7 of Cups. That's the Illusion Delusion card. It's also a choice card. You have your choices here. Which do you choose? Cups, of course, are emotions and feelings and love and that sort of thing. So I start out, worrying about this sort of thing. Illusions, delusions, or past delusions, illusions that I've had, or lack of choice or not making a choice. And then, so I see it more of a choice card. I don't know, but maybe not. Maybe it's not a choice. Maybe it is more of like too many choices. The freedom of too much choice. I think that's a line in one of Joni Mitchell's songs. The freedom of too much choice. It's in some song. It's a great line. And then it goes into the 6 of Wands. Of course, I love pursuing creative interests. It shows success in that. Harmony in that. Harmony in the many things that I do. I write, I paint. I'm now doing tarot. And I'm hoping, right now they're all sort of separate, but I'm hoping to kind of bring them together. There is a lot of overlap, but I'm going to explore the overlap more than in the past. I think I do see that. Temperance, of course, is, bringing two things together. Mind and spirit, love and hate, it's a water energy, a fluid energy of bringing things together, moderation, pouring the water, one cup and another cup and another cup. So it's this fluid, easy motion. Tai Chi, I guess you'd call it. Then I have the 2 of Swords coming up. The 2 of Swords is a beautiful card. I love this 2 of Swords, where I have to make a decision, an intellectual decision. It's something that I have a choice of 2 different things, and I have to make a decision about 1 or 2 different things, and then go forward. And it appears that I do make a choice, and what do? I get another Ace of Wands, a wand card, which is creativity, inspiration, and fire. So I see this, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, so that's my cursory look at the cards going from left to right. Now, I think when you read, I'm just trying to talk myself through this and talk maybe whoever is watching through it. There's one card that's, of course, very different, and it's also in the center, and that's the Temperance card. That is it's a Major Arcana card. So I was reading in left to right, but I could see this card in the center and say, okay, this is the card that's overlooking all these other cards. So I could look at it from the perspective of Temperance and look at the cards that way. This Temperance card could be me. Maybe I could be the Temperance card. Or it could be just the fact that I have to kind of bring things together. It's a year of bringing things together, of moderation, of tempering, of, making the chocolate, not, heating the chocolate, but not heating it too much, to make it shiny and bright and tasty. doing everything in moderation, bringing things together that are disparate, sometimes making those things maybe something new and exciting. So I think whenever you see a major arcana in your pull, that needs to be considered as the overarching thought or message to the reading. If you have more than one, maybe you would read them for left to right. Maybe you would see if they're complementary energies or if they're not complementary energies. Like, will you have the Sun card with the Devil card? Will you have the Magician with the Temperance card? So I mean, there's things that's also something to look at when you're reading a card. Another thing you look at when you're reading cards, just generally, again, I started from left to right, but if you just want to turn them over and look at them before you start talking left to right, you could, see these cards and say, okay, Temperance, let's pull her out because she's important. And then you can see what you have as far as, these are all elements. We have the fire element. We have 2 wands. We have a high wand, a highish wand, and then the spark. We see we have 1 swords. We have 1 cups. The swords, of course, are the intellectual, the communication card, and we have it at a lower level. There's 2 swords, so that means you're at the beginning of an intellectual pursuit where you have to make a decision which way you want to go. Then we have the highest card of the elements is the 7 of Cups. So I mean, in some ways, that's a concern. I mean, we're well into the cups. Not here, but here shows us that we're into something in the cups, which shows some emotional commitment or emotional involvement that has proceeded to an advanced situation where we have 7 of them. We don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. We have 7, and 7, of course, is change. An added element that kind of jumbles things up. And here we have a lot of choice. So we have to take our time. We have to think about this card of which way we're going to go. 6s, of course, are a harmony card. It's an evenness, even tempered. So we see, as I said, these different interests that I have, maybe not working together, maybe all separate, but they're living happily together. If I read it to left to right, I see, and that seems to be true when you read tarot cards. It's always the one that's on the furthest right seems to be the outcome or the future. And I do see all this is leading to the new spark of energy. And that is the inspiration of the wands of the fire, where there's going to be growth, as you see in the leaves. So that's kind of how ways you can look at cards. You can spread them out, look at the elements, look at the major arcanas. What are the major arcanas? Maybe pull them up and see how they connect to the things around them. Then you have your elements. See what elements you have. Or do you have more of one than the other? Do you have more pentacles? Do you have more cups? Do you have actually the cards? So we have two of the fire, and so this is the creativity, inspiration, growth. There's 2 of those cards, so that's significant. Then we look at where they are in the continuum of the numerology. It's 1 through 10, and then you have the court cards. But 1 through 10, 1 is the beginning, 7 is later on. It's not quite at the end. You're still struggling. You're still working towards something. So then you look at the numbers. Now, I also can see this as like starting out the year, maybe continuing on what the previous year brought, and I'm still working issues out. But then temperance will come in, something will happen with temperance, or temperance is always there, and then this sort of resolves itself, and I get into a whole different perspective, or a whole other issues that come up, intellectual issues, and more sparks a different kind of pursuit of creativity. So there's lots of ways you can read this, and The other thing, just briefly, I don't want to take too long on this. As I was reading these cards for myself, I was thinking, well, they always say it's the question and it's the context. It's the question and the context of how they fall and how you choose to read them, and how many, the elements, what are the elements, what are the major arcanas, what are the, how many elements do you have here or there. But it's also, the third thing they don't mention is it's the reader. Now I read this from my perspective and knowing who I am, and so I see this as a lot of creativity. Like, I don't see this as illusion, disillusion. I see this as choice. That's what I see it as. And I see this as everything getting along, all my creative pursuits, living happily in my mind, in my, my pursuit. I see this temperance card where I'm, making sure everything is kind of working together as best I can, holding it all together. They to make those energies complement each other. And I see myself coming up with a decision to be made sometime during the year, and then I will lead into a new direction of spirituality. But see, that's me. I would think that. Now, what if I was, a teenager and interested in boys or romance or something? I would look at this as very, very different. So I think they don't talk about it much, but I think it's important, it's something to think about. When you're reading for yourself, it's not a huge issue, but if you're reading for other people, I think that becomes an issue. There is the question, the context, and then there's the reader, and what perspective the reader is coming from, and what are they bringing of their own, internal machinations do they bring into the reading. Should they be completely neutral? Well, it seems like they should be neutral. Or should they not be neutral? I don't know. Or maybe maybe the ones that aren't neutral are better readers because they're more intuitive. So it's just a question I'm asking for no particular reason. Anyways, I wanted to show you this deck. I didn't go through a walkthrough. There's plenty of walkthroughs around. So this is the Dreaming Tarot. It's, I think they also have a Lenormand deck. It's by Rome Choi. Beautiful deck. Love this deck. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it down and then maybe edge it. Of course, if I cut it down, I will edge it. And then it'll be a little bit, maybe it'll, as I play with them more, when I shuffle them more, they'll get easier to shuffle. Because right now, I haven't been using them because I've been having trouble shuffling them. Well, this is me just talking, rambling on about, tarot and what I think about the tarot and about reading specifically and reading more generally. Anyways, if you have any comments, thoughts, if you want to argue with me, bring it. It's a conversation I would love to have with anybody. Okay, hey, thanks for watching. Have a great day.